Hey there. So I was thinking about this whole menopause thing. And I mean, a lot of it is kind of a mystery to a lot of us. Um, as a child, when I got my period back when I was 13, and so that was early 80s. It was still so very surprising to me that my mother even in the early 80s, gave me a belt and a Kotex pad that we had to strap in, basically. And then when I went to visit my grandmother, who I didn't see very often, she called the whole menses or menstrual cycle the curse. Still, even in the 80s, we were given this idea that it was very backwards. It was very hush hush. It was not talked about a lot. So I'm thinking that maybe perhaps going into our menopausal years, that maybe it's not quite as open and talked about and understood as I kind of would think for a lot of people. Again, it's something that is very natural, and even myself didn't realize that the symptoms I was having are not really normal. They're more of a result of things that are going on in my body, a toxicity, toxin levels in my body, the way that I'm eating, and potentially I don't have to be going through them in such severity. So I wanted to really just get right down to the basics and with the understanding, okay? I'm a book person, very much so. This, I don't know if it's coming up backwards for you guys or not, is The Natural Medicine Guide to Women's Health. It is by Dr. Sat Durham Carr. She's a naturopathic doctor out of actually Espanola. No, sorry, not Espanola, Owen Sound. And she is a Kundalini teacher as well. And she is an amazing, amazing women's health practitioner, naturopathic doctor, and specializes in all kinds of women's health. So somebody you can really connect with and research on your own. But this book has been actually my Bible for a lot of this, because again, it's hormones is not really my specialty, and I'm kind of just going through it like everybody else. So I've come to the section where it says menopause, and this is the description that she's given here. Menopause usually occurs when our ovaries no longer respond to stimulation from the pituitary gland, which is in the center of our brains, to secrete estrogen and progesterone. The menses, our menstrual cycle, usually becomes irregular and stops between the ages of 45 to 55, with the average age being about 52. As it so happens, I'm 53. And I actually am about a year and a half into my menopause now. Menopause can last anywhere from 6 to 13 years, which really kind of bummed me out a little bit, during which our psyche is programmed to change just as our bodies go through hormonal shifts. So it's very much a mental shift as well as a physical shift. That's just what she's telling us anyways. The menopausal sparks our bodies to give off are designed to ignite the transformative process. While not a menstrual disorder itself, menopause symptoms can be a little discomforting. And this is the whole reason behind what I'm doing. So some of the symptoms, now I know a lot of you really know what the symptoms are and what you're feeling, but some of the things that we really, maybe some of them you might not really recognize as symptoms. So you may have actually no symptoms whatsoever, other than the cessation or the stopping of your menstrual cycle as you pass through or into menopause, or you may experience one or more of the following symptoms. And again, it really does vary between each person, as well as the severity of each symptom as well. So the book actually goes into talking about a lot of treatments for different things, but the majority of the symptoms really that are covered in this book include hot flashes, insomnia, anxiety, depression, and vaginal dryness. And that is basically my life. but it goes into quite a few more here. So sweating, so people that have night sweats, or women that have night sweats, or as I'm going through this now, it's day sweats as well. Irregular periods, but I specifically haven't had my period for, like I said, about 2 years now, a year and a half specifically. Sore breasts, tenderness in that area, sleep disturbances. So again, that whole insomnia or waking up several times during the night, nervousness, fatigue as a result of not sleeping probably, dizziness, which I can get sometimes personally, joint pain, headaches. And looking back, headaches, I was getting a lot of headaches in my perimenopausal period of time, and didn't realize that at the time, but it was very much hormonal related. Fast heartbeat, which I do have, a decreased libido, and bladder incontinence. So those are just some of the signs that maybe uh, you can actually think about what's going on in your own life and trying to work around it. This is going to be, an ongoing series of different things. So we're going to really try to dive into a lot of the symptoms, a lot of the personal experiences, try to figure out what works best for you, what works best for me, maybe try to find a nice happy medium in between, and, see if we can really just find some fun in this somewhere, find the silver lining, and understand that it is a process. It's a process like what we went through our whole lives with our menstrual period, our menstrual cycles. Try to, do the best we can, because like I said, there's no two ways around it. And if it's going to last, goodness, 6 to 13 years, we gotta learn to love it. So it's just because I seriously don't want it to have to rule my life. I don't want it to have to rule my marriage. I don't want it to have to take over everything that is essentially me, because 53, the kids are out of the house, life is good. And, I'm just, finally coming to a spot where you can really enjoy yourself and life. And all of a sudden this starts, it's not fair. So, yeah, so hopefully we can, work on this together, and we'll get to some answers. And like I said, have a little fun along the way. Talk soon.